live. I am online as usual to share my ideas about a relative clause or adjective clause and participial phrase. Hello, everyone, my dear viewers, my patrons, my well wishers, and my subscribers. I am on behalf of an easy step to English grammar. It's too late tonight, but I have kept my promise that I shall be online to share my ideas about relative clause or adjective clause. Then, in my introduction, I don't want to make my lesson or introduction lengthy, but first of all, I want to inform you that a relative clause or an adjective clause qualifies either a noun or a noun phrase or a pronoun. As for example, let us take an example. This is the boy who has done it. This is the boy who has done it. This is the boy principal clause. It is the principal clause. And who has done it is subordinate adjective clause or relative clause qualifying the noun, the boy. Another example. I want a book which deals with I want a book which deals with economics or economical problems of India. So I want a book, principal clause, which deals with the economical problem of India, subordinate adjective clause or relative clause qualifying the noun book. Qualifying the noun book. So the book is called an antecedent. What is an antecedent? It is a very vital class, and during my class I may say that if this video or if this live stream comes to your benefit, you must like, comment, share and subscribe to, so that I may be encouraged and enthused to share my ideas with you, and you may be benefited. However, I am giving you an example, that is another example. The boy with a turban on his head, who is standing under a tree, is my brother. The boy with a turban on his head, who is standing under the tree, is my brother. So, what is the principal clause? The boy with a turban on his head is my brother. Just follow the lecture, just follow my teaching, and I think that all your ideas, all your confusions will be cleared. Your doubts will be cleared. The boy with a turban on his head is my brother. It is principal clause. Who is standing under the tree, subordinate adjective clause or noun clause, and qualifying the noun phrase, the boy with a turban on his head. And in the difference of opinion, some grammarians say that qualifying the noun, the boy only. Some boys have appeared to listen to my teaching, and you may tell your group to attend the class, to join my class, and it's a very important class on grammatical item, that is relative clause. Another example I am taking. The pen that you gave me on my birthday is lost. The pen that you gave me on my birthday is lost. So let us analyze the sentence. The pen is lost. Principal clause. The pen is lost. Principal clause. That you gave me on my birthday. Subordinate adjective clause or relative clause qualifying the noun pen in clause number 1. Clear? So, which is an antecedent? An antecedent is either a noun or a noun phrase or a pronoun that precedes the relative pronoun. That precedes the relative pronoun. Another example I am giving. For example, the man who is walking briskly in the field is my uncle. So if you analyze the sentence, the man is my uncle, it is principal clause, who is walking briskly in the field, subordinate adjective clause or relative clause qualifying the noun man. Clear? The doctor with a stethoscope in his hand, who has entered the chamber, is a good physician. Is a good physician. Now let us analyze the sentence. The doctor with a stethoscope in his hand is a good physician Principal clause. The doctor with a stethoscope in his hand is a good physician. Principal clause. Who has entered the chamber? Subordinate adjective clause or relative clause qualifying the noun doctor. Qualifying the noun doctor. So, or qualifying the noun phrase, the doctor with a stethoscope in his hand. Clear? So, you may be sure that all these are called relative clause in the continuative sense. Relative clause in the continuative sense. Just I am sharing my classroom teaching because I taught in a high school as an English teacher for 38 years. So, just I am giving my practical experience. I am sharing my practical experience because I know the weak point of all the boys and girls. Why they cannot construct a complex sentence with relative clause or adjective clause. And you should be aware of the fact that a relative clause or an adjective clause generally begins with that, which, who, etc. Whom. All these relative pronouns are used. Clear? The man whom I gave rupees 2 lakh has still remained unpaid. The man whom I gave rupees 2 lakh is still remain or has still remained unpaid. So, whom I gave rupees 2 lakh is subordinate adjective clause or relative clause qualifying the noun the man. The book which you read last night will leave a deep impact in your mind, on your mind. The book which you read last night will leave a deep impact on your mind. Let us analyze. The book will leave a great impact on your mind. Principal clause which you read last night, subordinate adjective clause or noun clause, and qualifying the noun, the book. Clear? So, an adjective clause or relative clause generally begins with that, which, whom, whose, etc. For example, whose. For example, I know whose garden is this. Remember that it is not an adjective clause. I know principal clause. Whose garden is this, or is this is subordinate noun clause and object to the verb know. So, whose is not always an adjective clause or a relative clause, it may be the noun clause. Clear? For example, you know, when, actually with when an adverb clause begins, an adverb clause begins with when. I do not know when the train will depart. It is, I do not know principal clause. When the train will depart, subordinate noun clause. And object to the verb do not know. So when is not always adverb clause. Again, I know the time when the train will depart. I know the time principal clause. When the train will depart, subordinate adjective clause or relative clause and qualifying the noun time. So you will have to, or you will, or you should have the power or capability to analyze whether it is a noun clause or an adjective clause or an adverb clause. I have given you examples that with when you may use adverb clause, you may use noun clause, you may use adjective clause. When it is adjective clause, there must be an antecedent. Again, I am repeating that an antecedent is either a noun or a pronoun or a noun phrase that precedes the relative pronoun who, which, what, etc. I know the man who he is. I know the man principal clause, who he is, subordinate adjective clause or relative clause and qualifying the noun man. But you see that I know the man, I know who the man is. Just reverse. I know who the man is. I know principal clause, who the man is, subordinate noun clause, and object to the verb know. So, who is not always adjective clause? Who may be adjective clause? Who may be noun clause? So, grammar is a very intricate thing, is a very delicate thing, and if you learn grammar correctly and meticulously, and if you read this subject, you will be able to write, to speak, or to communicate independently, elegantly, correctly, and with confidence. Thanking all of you. Good night. And I hope that this video will come to your benefit. And if this video comes to your benefit, I have the liberty to say or to request all of you to like, comment, share and subscribe too. Next day, I will make you understand what relative clause in the restrictive, in the continuative sense. It is also a very good topic. Thank you.